The scream cut through the morning like a rusty blade. This is my son's inheritance. Evelyn Caldwell stormed across the wraparound porch of the 125-year-old Victorian I'd just bought for 5 cents, her designer heels stabbing the heart pine planks. I stood in the doorway of what was supposed to be my mother's dream house, clutching the county deed like a life raft. Evelyn's eyes blazed with the kind of righteous fury that could scorch paint. But something in her perfect grief performance rang hollow, like a cracked bell. What I was about to uncover about the Caldwell family would peel back layers of lies darker than the mansion's original walnut paneling. 3 weeks earlier, I'd been nursing cold coffee in my one-room apartment in Fairfax County, Virginia, 6 months after burying Mom. Her dying wish had been simple: a Victorian with a sun-drenched library and roses out back. Cancer took the someday, but not the promise. The tax foreclosure notice for Willowbrook Manor stopped my scrolling. Built 1899. Library. Garden. 15 years abandoned. Minimum bid $1. The grainy photo showed gables sharp as accusations and stained glass winking through ivy. I had $237 in the bank and a nickel in my pocket that had ridden with me since high school. The auction at the county courthouse was a ghost town. Just the auctioneer, a clerk, and Mrs. Jenkins knitting in the back row. When the gavel fell on my 5-cent bid, my hands shook so badly I signed the deed twice. The first night in the mansion, I whispered, "I did it, Mom," to the vaulted ceiling. The library held over 1,000 leather-bound volumes. The garden had a stone-walled corner perfect for her memorial roses. But fresh boot prints circled the foundation, and Mrs. Jenkins warned me the next morning over coffee cake. The Caldwells have been circling this place like vultures. Evelyn runs the HOA like her personal fiefdom. They won't take kindly to an outsider. Evelyn arrived at 7:30 the following day, perfume announcing her before her knock. She swept past me into the foyer, cataloging dust motes and my cardboard boxes with the disdain of a general surveying conquered territory. "This house was promised to my son David 10 years ago," she declared. "We've waited for the Blackwoods to default. Your 5-cent stunt is theft." David, she explained, was a developer with plans, financing, contractors. Her other son, Michael, had died in a car wreck 3 years back. This restoration was to be his memorial. She controlled 47 properties, city council members, permit offices. 5-cent purchases attract 5-cent solutions. She left her embossed card like a gauntlet. David showed up the next morning in a tailored suit, all apologies for his mother's intensity. He spread architectural drawings across the dining table, gardens, period paint schemes, $500,000 in estimates. Michael had loved Victorians, driven past this house as a kid. David had been in Florida settling Michael's estate when the auction date mysteriously moved up. He offered $300,000 in a public ceremony acknowledging the misunderstanding. The money could erase every debt I'd ever had. But the documents looked too crisp, the timeline off. Michael died 3 years ago, yet David was handling estate business last week. At the courthouse, the death certificate had been filed 6 months ago, not 3 years. Michael's social media showed him alive in Florida, running Caldwell Construction, specializing in Victorian rehabs. I called the number on his business page. Michael answered on the third ring, voice warm with sawdust and sunshine. When I mentioned his family, the temperature dropped. "I haven't spoken to Mom or David in 4 years. They fake tragedies for profit. If they told you I'm dead, they're running the inheritance scam again." He flew in the next day. The open house I'd planned as a peace offering became the stage for truth. 30 neighbors filled the foyer, admiring crown molding and sampling Mrs. Jenkins's apple pie. Evelyn burst in with David and 20 supporters, blocking exits. "This is my dead son's legacy." David, half drunk, shouted about graves and theft. I connected the video call. Michael's face filled my phone screen, tanned and very much alive. "Mom." "David, I'm not dead, and I never wanted this house." The room froze. Phones rose like periscopes. David's lunge for my phone sent Mrs. Jenkins sprawling. Neighbors I'd barely met formed a wall between us and the Caldwells. Police sirens ended the performance. The viral video spawned hashtags and FBI raids. The Caldwells had run inheritance scams across 3 states, faking deaths, forging documents, collecting insurance. 15 other victims came forward. Evelyn and David drew federal sentences that would keep them behind bars for 12 years each. Michael stayed, his expertise breathing life into the mansion. The library became a community center teaching property rights and fraud prevention. The garden bloomed with heritage roses around a plaque for those who stood when lies stormed the gate. The nickel sits in a display case in the foyer. Sometimes I catch Mrs. Jenkins polishing the glass, smiling at the 5-cent miracle that exposed a criminal empire and stitched a neighborhood back together. What about you? When HOA tyrants or family fraudsters come knocking, do you open the door or stand your ground? Was I right to fight with truth instead of folding for 300 grand? Drop your thoughts below, especially on where violence fits when injustice wears a smile. Let's hear your stand.